Good morning, guys. So it's like almost 7 in the morning, like 6:45 or something. Um, yeah, and I'm up. I normally don't get up until like I don't know, around 9ish is normally my average time to get up. But the other day, Mike had he's on call, like once a month he's on call. So the other day, not yesterday, but the day before, he had to be up until like almost 2 in the morning. I think it was like 1:45 before we got to bed, which I could have went to bed, but I didn't want to make him like stay up by himself because our average bedtime is like 8, and you know that can be hard when you're not used to going to bed or when you're not used to staying up late, and then you stay up late, like especially when you don't want to. You know, it can be hard to stay awake. So I stayed up with him to give him some company and you know, just to help him stay awake. So now I feel like my sleep is all off. Yesterday, since we didn't get to bed the night before until like almost 2, I slept until like 11. And then Mike came home early. He's able to do that because his job doesn't pay overtime. So it's one of those, like, if you work X amount of hours or whatever, then you can leave early or something. I don't know. Essentially, he was able to come home early. So yesterday we took a nap from like 2 o'clock until like 4 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock, and then we were up, and then I was up until like 10 o'clock last night just because now my sleep schedule's all off. And now here we are at 6:45. I got up with Mike this morning. Wasn't intending to. I planned on sleeping longer, but my bladder woke me up. So joys of pregnancy. And now that I'm up, I'm just like, well, now I'm up. So here we are outside while Molly does her business. She just got off the porch swing, which my parents so kindly gave us. I love this thing. I'm in love with this back porch swing. I was wanting to do like a pallet couch back here. I don't know if you guys have seen those like homemade pallet couches or not, but that's what I wanted to do. But I never got around to like finding any little pallets. Plus I'm pregnant, so you know, it's not like I could really be working with the stain or waterproofing or any of that jazz. So it's kind of one of those, like, I'd like to do it, but I don't know when I'd be able to. But my parents got a hold of us about a week or so ago and was like, hey, we have an old porch swing. Well, not an old porch swing. We have an old yard swing. If you guys want it, you can have it, because we bought a new one. Because this one had a rip in the canopy. So we need to fix that. So that's sitting in my dining room. I need to duct tape it or something so it can be waterproof. I was thinking of sewing it, but it's like canvas material, so I don't know how well that would hold up being hand stitched. So it's probably just gonna be best, like my mom said, she's like, you can just duct tape it and it'll probably do the same thing. So that's okay, because it's back here on our back porch, and so we get a little bit of shade back here during most of the day, because it's kind of like under the awning of the roof, so it's not too bad. After about 2 o'clock, so it gets kind of warm back here, so I don't really chill back here in the like late afternoon. Well, not late afternoon, but like, you know what I mean. So until evening time, but during most of the day, it's pretty cool back here. Not that you care about any of this. Hair looks lovely, 'cause I haven't brushed it yet, and yeah, we're just kind of hanging out today. What you doing, Fuppers? What you doing? She likes to swing. See, I like to swing. See, we sit up here and we just swing. See, she's just my swinging buddy. We just come out here and sit. We just come out here and sit. We do some back porch sitting, don't we? We just do some back porch sitting. And here's what breakfast looks like. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a glass of milk. And strawberry jelly is courtesy of my mother-in-law. She does homemade strawberry jelly, so it's really good. So it was this or oatmeal, and I'm kind of over oatmeal. Banjo's over there holding court, surveying all that is his. So it's now 8:43. Got my teeth brushed, hair up, just out of the way for the day. Dishes are clean and drying. Sweet tea is about done. And all that's left is dealing with the recycling. So as you can see the white trash can over there, the lid about to pop off. Yeah, running out of room. So got some recycling sitting here that I just washed out, so it's clean and ready for the trash. I have to say that I'm like so in love with the recycling program that my city started. Since doing it, I mean, I feel better about our garbage because most of it goes to recycling, which is awesome. Kind of made me feel bad at first because it made me realize and really put into perspective like how much garbage we were sending to the landfill, and now we like 90% of our trash is going to be recycled, which is awesome. But another thing I realized the other day is that we only go through like one trash bag a week, if that. So like sometimes one trash bag will last us a week and a half. And trash bags are kind of expensive. I mean, to get the good ones that aren't going to break between your garbage and your outside garbage, like, you know, I don't know. I just, you know, trash bags are just, it's like buying toilet paper. It's not something you like to buy, but it's something you have to buy. And since doing the recycling program, since my city doesn't take like plastic bags, we can't put our recycling in a trash bag. It has to, we put it in the white trash can in the kitchen, and then we just dump the white trash can into like our recycling dumpster outside for the city to take. So it's cut back on the amount of trash bags we have to go through, which is not only good for the environment, but also good for our pockets. Because, you know, who wants to shell out $6+ worth of trash bags? So we are switching cameras real quick. We're on my normal filming camera instead of my phone because I have to call the mechanic. Essentially, Mike's car is having problems, I guess. His check engine light has been on. Granted, we went out and checked fluids yesterday, and he was like almost out of coolant, and he needed to put some oil in the car, so hopefully that's all the problem was. But he does have a really squeaky belt. I was gonna say wheel. He has a really squeaky belt. I think it's for his supercharger, but it could be the timing belt. I mean, they're kind of like on top of each other, so not entirely sure. But I think it's a supercharger because when he revved his engine, like it stopped squeaking, and you rev your engine to like use the supercharger, but I could be wrong. I'm not a mechanic. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So he took the SUV today, and I have to call the mechanic and see if we can get his car in the shop. And I just thought I'd let you guys listen to the phone call because I don't know. Hi, my name's Kristen, and I was wondering if I could get my car in today to get it checked out or drop it off. The check engine light's been on.
What do you need checked out?
Well, I'm not really sure what's going on. The check engine light's on, so I was wanting to find out.
Check engine, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, and it also has a squeaky belt, so I was wondering if you guys could look at that as well.
Yes, we can.
Okay, is there a good time in particular to drop it off, or?
Probably the sooner the better. If I'm going to get it in today, if you get it here later, then it'll probably be tomorrow before we can look at it.
Okay, well that's fine if you can't look at it till tomorrow. I was just wondering if I could drop it off sometime today.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well that's taken care of. I always feel so like weird calling places. I don't know, and I shouldn't. Like, I've been using this mechanic since I was 18. Oh my gosh, I had a craptastic on when I was 18. Like, you could have marked it on a calendar when that stupid thing was gonna need to go in the shop. Like, they legit knew me back then. Like, I would call, I'd be like, hey, this is Kristen. And they're like, hi, what's wrong this time? Like, I'm not kidding. Granted, it's like a small local mechanic, so it's, you know, it's not like a franchise or anything. That would probably wouldn't know who you are, but that just kind of gives you a little bit of reference on how often I had to take my car into the shop when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. Oh boy. But it's been a hot minute because I've had some good cars since then that haven't had to go into the shop every 3 months. So I don't think they recognize my phone number anymore, which is a good thing. But I always just feel awkward when I have to do adult things and call people. And, oh, don't don't like doing it. But yeah, and I just need to get a hold of my mom and make sure that she can pick me up from the mechanics. So she was wanting me to groom her dog a little bit today, like kind of touch her up. I'm not really like into doing full grooms anymore now that I'm at my end of my pregnancy, because it takes me forever. It just zaps all my energy out. But just to do her potty patch and to kind of do a little bit of scissor work to clean her up, that shouldn't take me very long to do. So I'll probably just get all of my stuff together, and hopefully she can just like meet me at the mechanic so we can drop off the car, and then we can go over to her house and I can do Missy, and we'll just go from there. So we shall see where the day takes us. Well guys, we're back where we started, and it's like 10 something in the morning. So I don't know, I feel like I've been kind of productive. What is going on with my hair? My dad met me up at the mechanic to drop off my husband's car. Of course, when I get in the car, the check engine light was off, which is a good thing. I had my husband check the fluids in his car yesterday, and it needed a little bit of oil, and it was about out of coolant. So hopefully that's why the check engine light was on. Like I said, it's off today, which is probably a good thing. But I went ahead and told the mechanic to just go ahead and check the squeaky belt, do an oil change because it needed it. I think we're going to be done doing oil changes at Walmart, because we had an oil change done not that long ago, like maybe a month ago. And the oil in his car was like inky black. And at Walmart, we paid for them to change the filter, the oil filter. And my guess is that either they just didn't do anything, or that they didn't change the oil filter. And I was talking to my dad, and he's like, well, there's no point in doing an oil change if you don't change an oil filter, because you know all your clean oil is gonna go through all that gunk in your filter, which makes sense. So yeah, I went ahead and told the mechanic to go ahead and do the oil change, because it's only like an extra $10 at the mechanic, and I trust the mechanic, they'll do it right. I never realized before that they did oil changes. I thought they did more like more important things on cars. I didn't realize that they did like basic maintenance, which makes sense that they would, but I don't know. They're always so busy. Like, they're a really popular mechanic here in town because they do a really good job. They're very reputable, and there have been times before when I've called for general maintenance things, and they've been like, well, we can't get you in because we have X amount going on with da-da-da, but we can recommend you to such and such. So I just kind of assumed they didn't do that stuff. Apparently they do, which is good because I like them. So we're gonna go ahead and get the oil changed in the pre, and then I told them to check the supercharger and see if the supercharger needs to have its oil changed, because we've had that car for like 2 years, and I don't think we've ever changed the oil in the supercharger. Granted, it wasn't until just a couple months ago that I found out that you have to change oil in a supercharger. I didn't know that was a thing, and my husband didn't know that was a thing. So we're getting that checked, and you would have thought that the person who fixed my supercharger 2 years ago would have told us, hey, you have to keep the oil changed in it, because I also have a Grand Prix. We still need to sell it because now we have the SUV, but I also had a Grand Prix with a supercharger, and 2 years ago the supercharger went out in it. And actually no, I've had that car for 4 years, and when I bought it, the supercharger didn't work in it, so I had to pay to have a new one put in. No one told me at the mechanics that I went to then, because I went to a different mechanic at the time because it was my friend's fiance's work, so I took it there instead of my normal place. And they were like, you know, they didn't say anything about like, oh, you have to change the oil in it. I didn't know that superchargers took oil. I don't know how that all works. So nobody said anything. Well, 2 years later, I blew the supercharger, and my husband has a buddy who's a mechanic who rebuilt my supercharger. And he didn't say anything, at least not to me. I mean, if he said something to my husband didn't think to say anything to me about it, but I didn't know that was a thing. And then I was just, you know, randomly going through YouTube, looking at YouTube type stuff, and came across a really good mechanic here on YouTube called Chris Fix, and I think it was his video on doing superchargers, or maybe I was watching one of his videos and it was like a suggested video for me to watch on the sidebar, but I ended up finding out that, lo and behold, superchargers take oil. It's a special kind of oil, and they have to have their oil changed. Didn't have a clue about that. So hopefully my husband's supercharger is okay and not broken, but I guess we'll find out, and at least we're getting it taken care of. So yeah, other than that, my dad brought his dog with him to pick me up from the mechanic, and she peed on me. So I need to go get a shower and change my clothes. I love Missy to death. She's a good dog, but when she gets excited, she wets her pants. And we tried, like, when I went to like greet her, we like set her outside the car, I held onto her collar and like praised her up, and she peed like on the ground. And I was hoping that'd be it, and ooh, it's getting dark out. I just noticed like all the light changed. But she peed on the ground, and I was hoping that was like it. And so I picked her up and was holding her while we drove home, and got home, gave her back to my dad, and there's a giant wet spot on my pants because she peed all over my pants. So it's kind of gross, but had to take Molly out as soon as I got home because I didn't want her having any accidents. So now that she's done and she has done her business, I'm gonna head inside and get a shower and change my clothes. And I don't know that I'm gonna film anymore today because the plans I had with my mom to groom Missy have changed. My mom has plans, my dad has plans, so I'm just gonna hang out here at the house today, and I don't know that there's really anything very exciting to film, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up here, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys.
Be playing dead. Thanks, Oliver. Put your toe right in the shot.
Oh, you want some attention? You want camera time?